Have you ever left a conversation and then replayed it in your head for the next 2 hours? Not just once, but again and again. The way you said that sentence, the pause before they answered, the expression on their face for half a second, and suddenly your brain starts asking questions. Did that sound weird? Did they think I was rude? Why did I say it like that? And before you realize it, a simple moment turns into a full mental investigation. If that sounds familiar, you might be someone who overthinks, not occasionally, but constantly. The kind of person whose mind rarely goes quiet, even when the world around you does. And if you're that person, you've probably heard the same advice over and over again. Just relax. Stop thinking so much. You worry too much. People say it like it's easy, like your brain has a switch you can just flip off. But here's something most people don't understand. Overthinking usually doesn't come from weakness. It often comes from awareness. Let's start with something simple. Most people think in straight lines. Something happens, they react, and then they move on. But the mind of an overthinker doesn't work like that. It branches. One thought leads to another, then 10 more. A small question becomes a chain reaction. Why did they say that? Which leads to, maybe they were upset. Then, maybe I said something wrong. Then suddenly, your brain is building an entire story out of a single moment. Not because you want to create problems, but because your mind is trying to understand. Think about a simple text message. Someone replies with just one word. Okay? That's it. For most people, the conversation ends there. But for an overthinker, that's just the beginning. Why only okay? Are they annoyed? Did I say something wrong? Now, your brain is analyzing punctuation, tone, timing. You start reading between lines that may not even exist. And the strange thing is, you know you might be overthinking, but your brain keeps going anyway. The reason for this is actually very human. Our brains hate uncertainty. They like answers, even if those answers are guesses. So when something feels unclear, the mind tries to fill in the blanks. It creates possibilities, scenarios, explanations. Overthinkers simply generate more of those possibilities than most people. And sometimes the brain doesn't know when to stop searching. But here's the part that's rarely talked about. Overthinkers are often incredibly thoughtful people. They replay conversations because they care about what they said. They analyze situations because they care about the outcome. They consider every possibility because they don't want to hurt people or make mistakes. That constant thinking is often rooted in empathy, in awareness, in wanting to understand people better. And those qualities are not weaknesses. They're signs of emotional depth. In fact, many people who overthink are also highly observant. They notice small things, a change in someone's tone, a hesitation before someone answers, the way someone avoids eye contact for a moment. These tiny details pass unnoticed for most people, but not for an overthinking mind. That mind picks them up instantly, and then it tries to figure out what they mean. Sometimes that leads to insight. You understand people better. You notice patterns others miss. You sense tension before anyone says a word. But sometimes that same awareness turns inward, and that's when overthinking becomes exhausting, because the mind that analyzes everything outside starts analyzing everything inside too. Your decisions, your words, your past mistakes, your future possibilities. It's like having a detective living inside your brain, a detective that never goes to sleep. Overthinking also tends to come with high expectations. Overthinkers often want to do things well. They want to say the right thing, make the right decision, handle situations carefully. So when something doesn't go perfectly, their mind tries to dissect it, not to punish themselves, but to figure out how it could have gone better. The problem is, the mind rarely knows when the analysis is finished, so it keeps replaying the moment, looking for answers that may never appear. You might notice this especially at night. During the day, your mind is busy with distractions, work, people, responsibilities. But when everything gets quiet, your thoughts get louder. Suddenly, your brain remembers that awkward moment from earlier, or a conversation from 3 days ago, or something you said years ago that still makes you cringe. And your brain decides now is the perfect time to revisit it. Overthinkers know this feeling very well. The moment when your body is tired, but your mind refuses to sleep. And yet, there's something interesting about overthinking. The same mind that spirals into worry is often capable of incredible depth. Overthinkers are often creative thinkers, problem solvers, people who can explore ideas from multiple angles, because their brain doesn't stop at the first explanation. It keeps searching, and that curiosity can lead to insight. Writers often overthink, philosophers overthink, inventors overthink, because deep thinking and overthinking are closely related. The difference is how much control you have over it. Over time, many overthinkers begin to realize something important. Not every thought deserves attention. Just because a question appears in your mind doesn't mean it needs an answer. Some thoughts are simply noise, background chatter, a brain trying to protect you from problems that may not exist, and learning to recognize that noise changes everything. Because when you stop fighting every thought, they begin to lose their power. Instead of asking endless questions, you start asking better ones. Is this actually important? Will this matter tomorrow? Am I solving something or just worrying? Those questions create distance between you and the spiral. They give your mind space to breathe, and slowly the overthinking begins to soften. Not disappear, but soften. Eventually, many overthinkers discover something surprising. The same mind that once felt overwhelming can become a strength. Because once you understand your own thinking patterns, you also understand other people better. You recognize anxiety. You notice emotional signals. You see connections others overlook. Your awareness becomes insight. Your curiosity becomes wisdom. And suddenly, the thing that once felt like a burden becomes a tool. So if you're someone who overthinks everything, if your brain replays conversations, if your mind searches for meaning in small details, you're not broken. Your mind simply works differently. It asks questions. It looks deeper. It tries to understand the world more carefully than most people do. And yes, sometimes that can feel exhausting, but it also means your mind is capable of incredible awareness. The key isn't turning it off. The key is learning when to let it rest. Now I'm curious about you. When something happens in your life, does your mind move on quickly, or does it replay the moment long after it's over? Because the psychology behind that difference reveals something fascinating about how people process the world around them. And in the next video, we're going to explore something even deeper, the psychology of people who feel everything intensely. And once you understand it, you might start seeing emotional sensitivity in a completely new way. If this makes sense, you're different. So share and subscribe.